Hey everyone, this is just a quick video with a recipe for a dish that I make. This is primarily for my family members. Some of you have asked how I make it, so it's just easier to make a video than to explain it. But it's pork and squash with watercress and tofu. You don't have to put the squash, tofu, and watercress. You can put just one or all. The recipe is the same. You just adjust the veg accordingly. I hope you guys give it a try. It's very simple. Stand by for the ingredients.
Here we go. Yeah. It's the one, bro.
First ingredient up is ground pork. I like ground pork. It cooks very quickly. It's very versatile. You can make all kinds of stuff with it, and it's relatively cheap. And thank goodness pork prices have been pretty reasonable still. Beef prices is through the roof, man. It's crazy. Next up we have watercress. We have some sweet Maui onions. We have some garlic. We have some long squash. I don't know what you guys call it, but that's what I call it. We got some oyster sauce, some avocado oil, some kosher salt, and some fresh ground black pepper. We also have firm tofu. We're gonna go ahead and cut this up and get ready to start cooking, but before we do any of that, we're gonna go ahead and season the ground pork. So here I am seasoning the ground pork. Today I'm just using salt and black pepper. You can put basically whatever you want in there, but today I felt like salt and pepper, and that's what I did. So I already salt and peppered it and mixed it once, and I'm just doing it again to make sure that I got all the bases covered, that I didn't miss any spots, right? And again, you can put whatever you want in here, but realistically, all the flavor for this dish comes from my next ingredient, which is oyster sauce. Oyster sauce is what gives this dish a strong umami flavor. And as you notice, I'm not measuring anything. I usually only measure when I'm baking. Sometimes I'll measure when I'm cooking, but always when I'm baking. But you just do it to taste, man. When you brown this up, you taste it. If it tastes like it needs more seasoning, you add more. It's not rocket science, right? Hard to mess this dish up. Super simple, super easy. So we're gonna set this on the side here for a few minutes to hang out while we prep the veg. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut some onions. I'm just gonna dice it because that's the fastest way for me to cut it, and I ain't trying to impress anybody. It's just me and my nephew, right? So I'm just gonna cut it the quickest way for me, which is dicing. And then we're gonna go ahead and cut up a couple cloves of garlic. If you got a good look at that picture, you realize that that's way more than a couple cloves of garlic. It's actually more like 2 heads of garlic. I love garlic in my cooking. And you know, in the kitchen, when you're the cook, you're the master of your dish, man. You make whatever you want. If you don't like garlic, well, sucks to be you, man. So anyway, I'm gonna saute these onions so they're translucent. Just gonna add just a little bit of garlic. Woo! I cracked myself up. Anyway, we're gonna saute the garlic for about another minute or so. You don't want to overcook garlic because it turns bitter. I actually added and browned the pork. I didn't show you guys that because I'm trying to rush to work, so I'm just trying to get this done. I just added in the squash, and the squash is young. It's going to cook relatively quickly. So we're going to cook that to slightly translucent on the ends, and we're going to add the the tofu, which I did right here. Tofu doesn't have to cook, right? So I just added it. And last ingredient is going to be the watercress. So I'm going to add the watercress in, and I'm going to cook it on heat for a couple of 3 minutes. And then I'm going to turn off the heat and cover it. I'm going to let the residual heat of the pot cook the watercress the rest of the way. I'm cooking this big meal for just 2 bachelors, me and my nephew, and it's gonna last us a few days, and I don't want the watercress to be overcooked initially. It's gonna be all nasty at the end. So anyway, I hope you guys try this out. It's a simple and delicious dish just like me. Talk to you guys later. Aloha.